It's July 24th, 1952, and one of the most anticipated events on the Olympic program is underway in Helsinki, the final of the 5-kilometer race. Everyone wonders if Emil Zátopek, the Czechoslovakian, nearly 30 years old, considered for several years as the best runner in the world, can withstand the pressure of his competitors. In excellent form are his peers, the German Shade, the Frenchman Mimoun, and the Belgian Rife. But there are also the British runners Piri and Chataway, who are almost 10 years younger, and the 26-year-old Soviet competitor Anufriev. The competition is immense, and journalists have already named this final as the race of the century. It's a battle of nerves and tactics, and at the exact moment when the bell announces the start of the last round, Zátopek makes a sharp entrance. He wants to decide now, but as soon as he lets up, 3 rivals overtake him. Chetevay, Shad, Smiman. 200 meters to go, and it seems that Zátopek's dominance will end in a few seconds. He was born in 1922 in Kopšivnice. He was the 7th of 8 children in a poor family. He was tiny compared to his peers and seemed fragile. At the age of 16, he joined the Bata factories in Zlín and studied at the Bata School of Labor, which was known for its strict regime. So when he was told at one point that he would be taking part in a running race, it was hard to make excuses. He tried to say that he was weak, but the doctor said he was fine and would run. It turned out strangely. Not only he didn't give up the race, he liked it. He wanted to win. He didn't manage to win, he finished second. But even that was a sensational success, and he realized that he might have found something in which he, always somewhat overlooked and underestimated, could finally excel. He began to train, initially with runner Jan Haluza, who gave him some initial valuable advice, then forever on his own. He prescribed himself brutal training sessions for that time, torturing himself with interval training, alternating between slow and fast segments. He didn't run easily, lightly, or gracefully. No, it was quite the opposite. You could see in his every movement, in his every grimace, how he was suffering. Perhaps this was the reason for his immense popularity around the world. This person clearly demonstrated to everyone that the path to victory doesn't have to be opened by talent alone, but by sheer willpower and hard work. He improved rapidly. In the year 1944, at the age of 22, he broke the first Czechoslovak record. A year later, he became the national champion for the first time, and in the year 1946, he had his debut at the European Championships in Oslo. He finished 5th in the 5-kilometer race, beating his own Czechoslovak record by 25 seconds. In the year 1945, he became a professional fighter, graduating from the military academy in Hranis in Moravia. In the army, he had better training conditions, but even here he was not particularly spoiled. He would run only after fulfilling his duties, often in the dark, training in the woods or on the sawdust of the stables. Sometimes he would run in military boots, using them as extra weight. In October 1948, he got married. He married the javelin thrower Dana, born in Grova, and it wasn't easy. At that time, the army had to approve the marriages of professional soldiers, and Emil's wedding to a relative of General Inger, who served as the Minister of Defense in the London exile government, did not sit well with his superiors. Only Zátopek's success at the 1948 London Olympics helped. Here, Emil won the 10-kilometer race with an incredible lead of more than 3/4 of a minute. It was a crushing demonstration of his strength. It will be impossible to beat him on this course in the upcoming years.
Zátopek outpaced almost all his rivals by a full lap.
And completely undaunted, he achieved his first Olympic victory.
But he would not win a second gold medal in the 5-kilometer race, which was run in heavy rain. He lets Belgium's Rife get away and, despite a stunning finish, is unable to catch him. It is probably Zátopek's most famous defeat.
Zátopek, who looked right out of the race, comes off with him an amazing burst over the last 300 yards.
Even Rife can hardly believe it, but Zátopek's lightning burst just came too late, and Raj beats him in a breathtaking finish.
In the 4 years leading up to the next Olympics in Helsinki, Emil Zátopek is becoming a world star. Crowds of 10,000 cheer him on at the races, and he goes from victory to victory. He breaks world records and brings home 2 gold medals from the European Championships in Brussels. Here, he avenges his loss to Rife from London. 3 times in 1949, 1951, and 1952, he is voted the best athlete in the world by international journalists. Yet he almost doesn't go to the Helsinki Olympics. The communist authorities refuse to allow Stanislav Ljungwirth, later the world record holder in the 1500 meters, to compete for political reasons. And Zátopek declares that he will not go without him either. Nobody takes it seriously, but only until he actually lets the plane from the first part of our expedition fly away. In the second one, he and Ljungwirth are both sitting. Here we need to stop for a moment and think about what kind of man Emil Zátopek really was. Friendly, modest, humble, he liked to be around people, he was a good storyteller.
I run about 15 to 20 kilometers a day, and because I want to practice speed as much as possible, I run short, fast sprints many times in a row, maybe 20 times 400 meters.
Completely alien to the mannerisms of today's sports stars, he was friends with his rivals, like Ljungwirth was back then. It's much more complicated when it comes to his political statements and actions. In many cases, they are nothing to be proud of. Zátopek was naturally left-leaning due to the impoverished background he came from. Moreover, he was a career soldier and a man of enormous respect at home and abroad, so the communist regime naturally pressured him. He joined the party in the 1950s, and in 1956 he became an associate of the military counterintelligence. In the post-August period, although he spoke out bravely against the Soviet occupation, he took it all back during normalization, apologized and repeatedly supported the regime. It's hard to judge from today's perspective. The closest to the truth is probably historian Pavel Kosatík, who says Zátopek simply couldn't resist the pressure and was afraid he would be arrested. But we're way ahead of that. Now we're at the Olympics in Helsinki, and Zátopek wins the 10-kilometer race here again by a landslide.
He's entering the final stretch, 30-20 meters. Emil crosses the finish line.
Emilio's second 5-kilometer race is decided on the last lap in the last corner. 70,000 spectators, who cheer for Zátopek in the same way as if he were Finn, watch breathlessly as the one who should have been defeated and overpowered rises up for one more attack. The Bay overtakes the trio in front of him again. Cheteve falls, Shade can't go on anymore, and so only Alain Mimoun, a Frenchman who gained respect despite being in Zátopek's shadow, finishes with a gap of less than 1 second. Emil Zátopek wins another gold medal in front of an enthusiastic crowd.
He has a 4-meter climb, 5 meters Okasa second. Zátopek wins the 5-kilometer race.
Second is French Mimoun, third German Shade. It was a wonderful race.
Just a little while after the finish, Dana Zatopkova, still euphoric with Emil's victory, runs to the first throw of her javelin competition. She throws an Olympic record that will never be broken again. It's a unique case of both spouses winning 2 Olympic gold medals in such close succession. It seems unbelievable, but even now the Zátopeks haven't had the last word in Helsinki. Emil has signed up for a third race, the marathon. He had never run it before, and many shook their heads at the sheer audacity. To win all 3 endurance races at one Olympics? Impossible, they said. But for Emil Zátopek, called the Czech locomotive, nothing was impossible in that miraculous Helsinki week. Already at the halfway turn, he was in the lead together with the Swede Johnson. By the end of the race, he was running alone, fighting only the course, himself and his doubts. When he appeared at the stadium gate, the crowd went wild with excitement.
Now on the morning of the marathon run to the Olympic Stadium in Helsinki as the first starting number 93,
Czechoslovakian representative Emil Zátopek.
And in front of an enthusiastic audience of 75,000 is huge.
Emil Zátopek won by 2.5 minutes over the Argentine Gorno. And as was his own way, modestly and quietly entered forever among the legends of world sport.